Welcome, dear viewer, once again to TV Al Alamiya. This is Africa Arena. I hope you're doing good. Today's show, it's a very sweet topic. She's been called the cemetery, the sleeping continent. But today, we're here to wake her up. Join us today in this topic to see how it goes. I'm Wahida Moran. Stay tuned after the break.
Wine other people. Them killing every day on the street, nobody wanna care about them. Always said nuclear war. People them killing each other. Family upon family, race upon race. Where one now? Me no understand. Rise mama me cry so. Tell them. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Peace, yeah. Let's find the solution. Let's find the solution. Me boy and sister and I. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Peace, yeah. Let's find the solution. Me brother never kill each other every day. No, no, no. No gunshot, no gunshot. Put it back. How them are killing people and for nothing. No one used to care about in them are done. No killer war, it's a year and day. Africa every day is a war. Me say go and find the solution. Never hide the solution. Never kill a people and serious on the solution. Me know what a thing them done. Why a thing a go on there? Every day it's about nuclear war. Please, let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Peace, yeah. Let's find the solution. Let's find the solution. Me brother and sister and I. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Peace, yeah. Let's find the solution. Me brother never kill each other every day. Let's go and feed them people and find some right and find some peace. But don't tear them into pieces. Miss a tell you what I want. It's a war here and there. Bumbo clot man. It's a war in Somalia. It's a war in Iraq. It's a war in Gaza. It's a war in Iraq. It's a war in Australia. It's a war in Libya. It's a war here and there. We want peace over there. They sign up them people, them die for nothing and none. Them say I'm going there for peace, but I'm tearing them into pieces. Please call for peace, not tear them into pieces. Rasbaba me says so. Blessed for my people. I will Rasta star, you know. Blessed. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Peace, yeah. Let's find the solution. Let's find the solution. Me brother and sister and I. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Let's find the solution. Me brother never kill each other every day. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war. Peace, yeah. Let's find the solution. Let's find the solution. Me brother and sister and I. Peace, yeah. Let's stop the war. Let's stop the war.
And that was peace. Let's stop the war. Before we go into the peace and war, before we go to that, we must first awaken our African nation. And today in the stage, in the studio, I have beautiful people, my friends, my colleagues. Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Charo Frankson. I'm a Kenyan, well, and soon to graduate from the Faculty of Administrative Sciences, Business Administration.
Okay. What about you?
My name is Fungaro Jimmy. I'm a Ugandan, and I'm in the Faculty of Geology. So basically, we control whatever is on Earth.
Of course, so at least I think this topic concerns both of you, the geologists, back to our Earth and to you too also. So the term Awakening Africa, this term, and it seems vast, but can you just try to make us explain and just understand about this concept of Awakening Africa?
Well, when we talk of Awakening Africa, it has been displayed in several writings by famous authors for a very long time. It has also been displayed in reports from international organizations that Africa is a sleeping giant.
Yes.
Yes. And when we talk of...
do you believe in this term?
Yes, definitely.
You trust it?
It's really a sleeping giant.
Okay.
Looking at, there is so much that people haven't really known about Africa.
That's true.
So when basically I refer to Africa as a sleeping giant and Awakening Africa, I look at how can I open the eyes of my fellow Africans to really see the true Africa and the potentials of Africa.
Of course.
Yes.
What about you? Do you have a different outlook about this term?
When you look at the topic itself, Awakening of Africa, I refer myself to some of the recent topics that have went trending across the globe. One of them was the shocking story of one Ugandan young lady, the 22-year-old beauty queen, who was able to make it to the top 3 of Miss World.
Wow.
That's something which...
She must really be a beauty and brains, of course.
Of course, that is something which is really world interest. And it is not only that, but that is just a piece of it, because throughout this century, you find Africa has influenced the world a lot through its vast cultural dimensions.
Yeah, of course. And of course, also it has been seen that most Africans in the US, they prosper very much, so they are very much well off. So I don't think we as a people are sleeping, but the continent, I don't know what you can do. As you say that Africa needs to be awakened, what does it need to be awakened from, or who is it? From what and who?
Awakening Africa can be considered as a huge topic that cannot be discussed just in a few minutes or in a few hours. The question of Awakening Africa, to me, it's not about from who, but from what.
Okay.
Yes. I have basically looked at Africa in facing 2 huge challenges, and the first challenge is leadership crisis, whereby all over Africa we are having troubles with our political leaders, and this is very challenging, because if you look at history, we have leaders, and then we have people who just wake up in one day and they find themselves in top leadership positions.
By luck.
Yes, something like that. But even sometimes it's not even by luck. They have a lot of resources and they use these. Someone has a lot of money and they can buy anybody to... Yes. But to me, a leader is somebody who is nurtured from childhood. If you look at the kings and the kingdoms before, we had young princes and princesses being nurtured, from childhood. They grow knowing that I have a responsibility as a leader. I have duties and I have principles. And you see, but today someone just wakes up and he finds himself there as a leader.
So just to add on what he has just said, basically when I look at the point of Awakening of Africa, I consider the contribution of Africa to the current growing civilization that is happening. From the past, we have known that Africa has basically been the cradle of beginning of civilization, but now it is time for Africa to continue to unveil what has been closed about it, because in the past you find most of the times what has been discussed about Africa has always been the negative part. But now Africa has opened its eyes. It has been sitting, I can say, on a hot pan. Now it has woken up, and it is going
Still looking up,
yes, now it has started acting according to how it's supposed to act. according to how it's supposed to dominate whatever portion is there of the civilization that's there in the world.
Of course. You see that most times Africa is portrayed to the world as though we are still backward. So who is to blame? Can we say the media is to blame? Who exactly is to blame?
Well, when it comes to the issue of blaming anybody, I wouldn't throw the blame on anybody.
Okay.
Everyone, if it's to blame someone, then everyone is to blame.
On how we are portrayed, yeah?
Yes.
Because the world sees Africa as just hunger, diseases.
Exactly.
Okay, so.
But the truth should be the other way around, because diseases, they're everywhere. How these problems come, they actually make us develop. If you don't have a problem, that means you will sit on that same position, and you won't find the need to move a little bit, ahead from where you are. So these challenges that we face as Africans, to me, I consider them as a teaching, as a way for us to, to move ahead.
Okay.
So if we take them as challenges and they bring us down, then it becomes really, I don't know. Yes.
What about you? How do you think we can change how we are portrayed?
Basically, I can say that sometimes you find the world outside, I can say, to my own point of view, the world favors Africa less. I don't know, but that is how I see it as a Pan-Africanist. You find most of the times the world concentrates on trying to bring out the negative of Africa instead of looking at more of the positive bit. Because when you look at conflicts right now, basically, you find there's no part of the world which is lacking conflicts.
Yes.
When you look at Venezuela right now, where there's mass exodus happening, people are leaving the country, but nobody talks about it.
Yes,
but
true.
you find anything very little in Africa is being exaggerated. So you find this kind of exaggerations give power to maybe societies which are trying to, groups or armed groups or something of such a kind, which are trying to destabilize the continent. But you find if less attention is paid to these groups, they will fail to get that kind of support that can make them to continue what they have been doing. But basically, I stand from the point of view that it's time for us to pay more attention to positive deeds of Africa. That you can look at the potential of Africa being a destination for tourism, being a destination for cultural exhibitions, being a destination for things more interesting that influence the world positively than just talking about conflicts.
I feel the best medium for this will be the media people, the journalists, the TV stations. They can play a bigger role in this.
Yes, that's
Most
why I'm
times,
saying we all play a part in it. We all have a role to play. We can't just say only a specific group of people to work on that area.
It's true, it's
Because going back to what my colleague has just said about Venezuela, if you look at what Venezuela is going through at the moment, it's one of the hardest time. But still, Venezuela is one of the richest countries as well in terms of oil reserves. If they can have that being portrayed to the rest of the world, then this other scandal can even go down under that. And it's the same situation that Africa is in. We have very little that is known about Africa which cannot outcome or outcover the negative part of it. Yes, so it's all over everyone's responsibility to make sure that we do our best, we cover all the negative stuff, and just have the good things up there.
I think most of us who have gone abroad, maybe come to Sudan, outside, we like to speak bad about where we come from. I don't know, it's an African thing. Like, oh, back home is kida. I think it should just change. You say, like, Africa, we have the best oil beast, we have the best food, we have the best. And I think we should change how we talk about our own homes. Well, apart from that, okay?
Sometimes you really don't know if I tell people about my home, how are they going to look at it? You see, we have so much that we have been hiding within ourselves. That's why we are calling Africa as a sleeping giant, because we have the greatness in us, but we don't want to let this greatness come out there. Yes. And in the 1990s, you have seen several authors, the Chinua Achebe and the rest, portraying the real picture of Africa to the rest of the world. And that's when people now had to come in to explore Africa and all that stuff.
That's true.
Yes. So we are still heading there.
Yes. But I'm sure there are specific sectors whereby we really, and us as Africans, we feel that we need to be awoken.
Yes.
There are sectors where we are still lagging behind. Mr. Fungaro, if you can just...
Yes, just to pick from what you've said, considering where the position of Africa, right now we stand as the world's food station to be. Are you seeing it?
Yeah,
because when you consider right now, Africa is having about 60% of world's arable land that is yet uncultivated. But then you get surprised when you hear hunger cases still common in Africa.
That's true.
We are importing food from the outside world. You find Africa is spending right now with the current statistics, we are having up to about $35 billion wasted on importing food to Africa. You find we're importing chicken from Brazil. We're importing a lot of things which we can grow by ourselves. Now Kenya is being pressed by the Chinese, who are making them to import fish, tilapia, which can be found cheaply in Lake Victoria and can be homegrown. Are you seeing it?
Yeah.
So you find Africa still has that potential, and we, by no doubt, we are the ones who are going to feed the world in the next coming decades of years. But now, what do we need? We still need a lot of things in such a way that we need to make the agriculture more scientific. Are you seeing it? We have to make it more scientific in such a way that we can increase the production. The production by Agenda 2063, which is to eradicate hunger and poverty in Africa. Africa needs to pay more attention to what its potential is. Sometimes we concentrate more on the mineral part of Africa, which of course we know we are the giants still, but we have the agricultural part. We have the industrial, the tourism part. Africa has everything which we need. I get so nervous when I hear that we are having unemployment. Unemployment is not supposed to be heard of in Africa. We have all these industries which are yet to be developed, but you find most of the times our governments pay less attention to these areas. Yes.
Okay. What about
and definitely, especially on the issue of having 60% of Africa's arable land still not utilized, it's one of the areas that really clicked my mind. I looked at only this 40% of the arable land in Africa. The statistics give us a value of about $1 trillion. Yes, just from the 40%. So meaning if we can really venture into agriculture and try to utilize the remaining 60% of Africa's arable land, then we'll be having a value of almost $2.something trillion, which is really a good amount of money to develop Africa in the rest of the industries. When we talk of tourism, actually Africa is
the home of
the home of tourism. Yes, we are the founders in this. Even though we had little take in terms of preservation of these world tourist attraction areas. If you look at the pyramids in the northern part of Africa, in Sudan and in Egypt, these areas were recently reinvented, whereby now people come in and try to renovate them so that they can bring out that ancient picture. If you look at Zimbabwe, the great Zimbabwe, the kingdoms, the walls, they are still there. They look as if they're still new, all right? And looking at the wildlife in so many parts of Africa, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, all these areas, they've been, kind of not known to the rest of the world. So what we actually need is about media as well, whereby we can have these tourist attraction areas well known to the rest of the world.
Yes, and I think we should just shift from the wildlife and just show other stuff. We have history, we have kings also. We have our kings then. I think we focus more on the wildlife so much. You forget that
when you talk about the aspect of us having the past, the civilization, sometimes that's why I become wild, because you find the museums which we visit in the European countries, these are African articles. Yes, these are African property which they have grabbed from us. Of course, these are things which they are supposed to come and see in Africa. But we don't blame the past so much, because Africa has always been in the business of blaming the past too much. Now it is time for us to do what we have. We still have more potential that they have not stolen from us, which we are just keeping inside, lying when we cannot when we cannot do something with it.
About
But we
it,
need to
yes.
wake up. This is the whole thing. And you find the media has the greatest role to play. The media goes more displaying conflicts than displaying things to do which can attract what? The tourists and all that. So you have to exhibit that Africa is a peaceful place where the people can come and visit and can add us revenue.
Then on the industry of trade and business as well.
But Mr. Charo, I think
Yes.
that's a very broad topic. Let's hold it. Let there be a hold on this.
Yes.
So back home, we've heard that we as Africans need to awaken ourselves, tourism in our culture. But you back home, what do you think Africa needs to do? Don't go anywhere far, please. Stay tuned. It's Africa Arena or Hidomaran coming back to you.
Catch a groove, wanna feel the siren vibe. I said just rock and come in, you know, said the vibe is right. Yeah, say bring your queen, I tell yourself loud the machine tonight. Yeah, cause it's a funky reggae party and we feel the vibe. Yeah, it's a long time I no dance like this. It's a long time I no groove like this.
And that was a nice song from our Jamaican brothers. Coming back to today's topic, Awakening Africa, today in our studio is my guests, Charo and Mr. Fungaro. And we're talking about how we Africans, or which sectors need more awakening from. So, Mr. Charo, you are about to tell us about the...
Yes, something to do with the trade in Africa.
Yes.
Okay, looking at the ability and the potential of Africa into trade, Africa has built the largest trade routes. Okay, this means any production that comes from Africa easily goes to the rest of the continent.
That's true.
And looking at all industries that we have in Africa, all the way from agribusiness, mineral oils, and the food stuff as well. When these production or these raw materials are taken from Africa, taken out of the continent,
Yes.
then they are kind of manufactured from out, and then they're brought back
To us.
Yes, to Africa for resale. This can be stopped. Yes, this can be stopped, and if this can be stopped, then it can create a huge reserve for Africa's resources within Africa. So the legacy should be produce African and
Manufacture in Africa,
sell,
process Africa.
yes, process, sell, and buy African.
Yes.
Yes.
And one thing also.
Then just to add on what you have said, if you look at the East African community, at least we are beginning to improve, because we have copied at least the example from our Western brothers, the ECOWAS state. Now the East African community has gone ahead to consider the dissolving of border disputes, where at least people can move freely. With the development of our new passport, it can at least improve trade within the region, and this is going to be something very important, especially in the sector of trade.
Yeah.
Yes, basically
One
that.
more thing that I've realized, that Africa, we mostly import from outside. Why not import or export within our own selves? Like, of course, we know South Africa has oranges, then going outside the continent, why not we start to buy from our own?
That's
than
why I'm
going
saying.
outside?
That's why I'm saying we need to create that kind of mentality, that kind of culture, whereby we produce Africa, we buy Africa, and we sell Africa. This can improve the relationships between the
Countries.
African countries
Yes.
themselves. Looking at COMESA as a regional bloc, it has done something really tremendous in the southern part of Africa, and when I was working with them for a few months, I realized the amount of commodities that are circling or moving around African countries in this regional bloc, all the way from Malawi, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, and Zambia, okay, including Sudan as well. It's too much. You're talking of over $145 million moving around the regional bloc every single year, and these are commodities which move freely without high taxations, like those products which come from outside. So when we come to trade tariffs, those tariffs that involve importation and exportation of products in the regional blocks, as brother has said, these have to be controlled in such a way that movement of goods can be so easy and facilitated faster for trade to continue.
To continue.
Yes.
Okay, apart from that now, let's go to another topic. They say that African is dependent. All this because you're not developed, because you are not dependent. So what factors do you think make us dependent on other continents, for example?
Basically, I want to say like our dependence has been more pressured, I should say, by forces which are out of Africa most times, because you find most of the times our commitments to external friendships have ended up corrupting our general interaction as Africans. You find sometimes some people say we belong to the British, others we belong to the French. Or these things are still alive in Africa, though they are a bit silent right now, but they are still alive. So you find sometimes some of these strings prevent us from having that kind of free interaction.
And also unity. So
Yes.
you said the colonialists, because they all came with different countries, French, the Englishmen, they divided us.
Yes.
From
So you find most of the times the African mind has not been completely liberated, like the way Ngugi Thiong'o has put in his book, Liberating African Minds. So you find it begins with our minds. If we start developing our minds to understand that we need ourselves more than we need people from out of Africa, then it will be a good thing for us.
So,
and this is where now education comes in, because another biggest challenge in Africa is our education systems are very, very weak. Okay, so if the child is taken care from kindergarten all the way to the universities, and the mindset of these children as they grow to be young people, to be adults, has been brought in a way that it doesn't necessarily create opportunities for themselves. They just need to find something which has already been done waiting for them. Then they cannot grow in a productive manner. That's why you find most of the academic institutions, the universities and colleges, 100 students graduate every single year, and only 20 get a job in 2 years. So this kind of systems, they have failed in creation of independent citizens of Africa. Yes. When I was in Germany in 2010, I was among those who visited a couple of companies. Then there's this specific company that we went, and we intermingled with children of 14 years of age, 13 years of age, and they're working in huge companies. Then you start to wonder what's happening. So when we were taken through their education system, we realized they have kind of 3 days in academic systems, and they have at least 2 days of training in a real, working environment. Yes, it's not like internship as such, but they're even paid to a minimum of $400 a month.
Do you think that the same system can be applied here in Africa?
Definitely, it can be applied.
Definitely.
Yes, because these systems, they are controlled by the government. Yes, yes. Which means that much money that our governments spend on luxury and other things that you even try to wonder, why is the government spending all this much money on something that doesn't have a positive effect on the lives of the citizens? If that amount of money can be budgeted to implement these kind of programs. Because,
so an academic program, yeah.
Actually, it's vocational training. Yes.
What about our political system? Do you think it has helped, it has been the core reason of why we're still not that dependent?
Yes.
Mr. Emmanuel,
the political...
you're too quiet.
Africa, when you come to politics, that's where all African people, their blood boils. Now you see, basically, when you look at politics in Africa, up to now, African leaders are still too powerful for our current states. You find totally the political systems have changed. We, in the past, we used to have leaders who were community-oriented. Yes. But this has changed over time, I think. So this is one of the problems which we still need to address in times to come. We need to go back and review our systems of how our societies used to be. You find some of these political systems which we have adopted, yes, from the outside societies, don't simply work for Africans. When you look, African society setting is totally a social social kind of setting. But you find most of the times the systems which we are trying to use to govern Africans don't work for Africans. So it is a wake-up call to make us to go back and review some of these political systems which can work for us and which cannot work for us.
It's true.
Yes, so this can be a very great factor in trying to see how we can make a leap from the pithole which we are in.
And also choosing eligible leaders who know how to plan and to budget for what we have. I think that's going to help us a lot in being developed.
Yes, but now, as I said before about people who just wake up in a day and then they are in the top positions there, it becomes really challenging because these people have not been nurtured to be leaders. They just have that feeling of, I want to be, worshipped. I just need to be on top there where everybody pays dividends to me, you see. But if we can really nurture people from from the lower systems, then they become leaders after some time. Then here we can have a stable political system. Yes.
Just to add on, it used to be in the past where the society used to spot who has the capabilities of being a leader. So this has changed over time. You find now leaders just come from a blue. Because from my area at home in Uganda, you find there was a leader who came. He spent the rest of his life, he was an engineer in Zambia. So all of a sudden he came, nobody knew him, but to the working call of people, the next day is our member of parliament. Are you seeing it? But we never saw him again after he went to the parliament. Even nobody knew where he sat in the parliament. So you find after some time, after his term in office, he came back.
Asking for votes
again? Are
votes.
you seeing it? So these kind of things, these are very ridiculous things which are happening in Africa right now. Are you seeing it? So if we can try to address these kind of things, whereby the societies should be the ones to spot the people who have the capabilities to lead the country. Because when the society spots, it's not one person, but it is the general community that observes. So it gives...
This now becomes a challenge because the same societies are the ones who vote for these people in power.
Yes,
but these votings are most times influenced because of money. You find yes, but the kind of, maybe the kind of guard we can add towards that weakness can be involving more than one groups of people. Like in the past, we used to have the elders sitting, we used to have, so you find the system used to go in ranks. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
To the final person being selected, it is after a series of approval.
It's true.
Yes.
I think here we have a good example with one of the European countries. There's one country that I've been studying for a while now. It's the only country in the world that doesn't have a president.
Which country is this?
It's just one country in the whole world that doesn't have a president, Switzerland.
So how is it ruled?
Well, when I was looking at their political system, then I came to realize they have a council of ministers. And what the council of ministers does, it's the one which selects somebody to be like the head of the council of ministers. And this person is selected every single year. So this year we have somebody else amongst us, to be like the president for that 1 year. Then the next year somebody else, and the turn goes on and on. So not one person becomes the head of the government for a long period of time.
Do you think such a system can be adopted in Uganda, if I may ask, Mr.
Well,
Emmanuel?
for now I can say it's very difficult because the structures that exist quite don't allow that kind of setting to come in. But what I can add is that Africa is still suffering from that fever of the post-revolutions. Are you seeing it? The past revolutionaries, up to now, they still have a feeling that Africa owes them. So this is one big factor that hinders our progress. You find someone came, liberated the country from a certain condition, but he still feels the country owes him the respect. Are you seeing it? Forgetting that after doing what he or she has done for the benefit of the country, should now be able to accept the respect that the society is able to give him by changing things according to how he had planned them to look like.
It's true. But I think the root cause also, I think it goes back to us because we are the one who vote for these leaders. We are the one who are corrupt, and that's the truth. It goes to every individual, back to the roots. If you want to have an independent continent, a country, you have to choose people who are really working, because I think we all go for hearsay. Even back home as you're watching this, change how you choose the leaders, and don't just because they promise us this, they give us some money and already we are into it. So in the case, really, we adapt these new systems, can Africa really compete in the international market? Can we really be there? Can we really?
When you talk of competing in the international market or with other continents, then to answer that question, we have to go back and look at the resources that we have in Africa. And we've given this from the word go, looking at the agricultural sector, which is one huge area that Africa can really take control of. but I'll just give you an example of a scenario that happened in the year 1986-87 in South Africa. We had South Africa exporting 75% of the world's gold reserves in the world market. 75% of the whole gold in the world's market was from South Africa. That means only 25% was coming from the rest of the world.
Yes.
This shows how competitive Africa can be. Just one country in the whole of the world, and it's representing 75%. Meaning, if we include the rest of the other countries that are mining gold in Africa, Sudan, and maybe Nigeria, then we
With the
can.
oil.
Just those three giants in Africa can surpass the whole world's,
And of course,
production
Kenya with our
gold.
tea, because if you don't know,
Yes.
Kenya has the best tea. It's rich, very, very, very sweet. And I'll invite you to
It's a
back home
legacy,
to try
yes.
it.
It's a legacy for Kenyans.
What
Everywhere
about
you
you,
go,
Mr.
it's-
Mkongari? What do you have in Uganda? Tell us.
Yes, basically, one of the areas where I would want Africans to pay more attention, which they have not done for quite a long time, is the tourism. Tourism really needs to be paid attention to, and this can create a lot of jobs for not only the locals, and even people will be bringing in funds and all that.
Yeah.
So you find how we can do this. We still need to restore some of the critical situations in Africa, which is peace and creating that environment that is able to make the people who are coming from out conducive,
Feel safe.
yeah, to feel safe to come into Africa, and the media has the biggest role to play. The media should have time where it has to expose more about Africa. I was happy just days ago, Uganda made it to world's most interesting tourist destinations to go to.
To
Yeah,
go
it
to,
was,
and I
it was
saw
a
that
very
the,
nice, yeah,
the
it was
small
a very
kids
nice,
hereby,
yes,
the ladies also
yes.
are an attraction to the country. What do you-
Well, that one is a controversial topic there. That one, in fact, being a Ugandan, I was not basically happy because we cannot allow our women being reduced to that status. In fact, that topic brought a lot of discussion in the parliament. Almost up to now, the Minister for Tourism is being
Questioned.
wanted for that kind of promotion, which he tried to use to improve tourism, but it was not appropriate because Africa, we know we have the best women.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
course,
Of
we
course
cannot
we do.
reduce our women to the status of being used as a
tourist
tourist
attraction.
I
attraction.
think he meant it in a good way, but it's how he.
To me, I don't.
Maybe he had a good intention.
Definitely he had.
Well, we can say he had a good intention, but still to the point, because if it takes us back to the days when our women suffered, because we remember history, those are the dark parts of history which we don't talk about, where you find the foreigners, they used our women because of the beauty they saw in them, and it was something which we don't want to remember. So we would not want to be reminded of such things to happen in Africa right now.
And just as we're coming to a close, you as a youth, what do you think you can do to help elevate Africa to where we want it to go? In the shortest words.
Basically, innovation. This is the most important thing. Right now, like for sectors like agriculture, we need to move from that point of taking agriculture as a source of just a sustenance in Africa. We need to make agriculture more advanced so that it turns into agribusiness. We need to move from that point, and we can only do this through innovation. And I'm happy that right now there's a lot of innovation that is taking place across the continent. Different universities and student graduates, you find they're developing a lot of technology that is improving agriculture right now. And I have no doubt that 2063 agenda of Africa we want, of eradicating poverty in Africa, will be achieved.
What about you, Mr. Tori? In the shortest words possible, you as a youth, what can you do?
Well, I would basically advocate for a change in the education systems everywhere in Africa, because this is where the real fundamentals of Pan-Africanism starts. Okay, and again, it's only through education where you can liberate a nation or a group of people. When somebody knows exactly their potentials, then how to use these potentials into creating something you know, important in their own lives, that can be a really huge motivation. And
Okay. So do you want to do any shout out back home to anyone watching you back home?
Well, to those people who are watching, first of all,
Short, very short. We have.
first of all, they need to understand that they have a role to play.
Role to play.
Yes, in the society. And when it comes to leadership, they need to create a kind of a criteria, just a criteria of who should I take in a leadership position. And this person that I'm taking there, if I have to be accountable, can I be accountable of this person that I've taken there?
It's true.
Yes.
Mr. Fong, what about you, to the viewers of back home?
To the viewers back home, basically, my point of view goes to our governments, the people in power. Me, I would suggest that the issues which are discussed in the African Union, the agenda which has been created is a very beautiful roadmap, which if we follow critically, can lead us to the promised land.
Okay.
And my advocation is that whatever that was discussed in Addis Ababa must be taken very seriously to the core.
It's true.
Yes.
So to the viewers back home, that was Mr. Emmanuel, Mr. Charles telling about how we can awaken Africa. It's about our innovations, how we change, how we think, we choose the right leaders. It was Africa Arena to you. I'm Wahida Moran. Till next time, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Every Tuesday in TV Alamia, coming to you. Have a good afternoon. Stay safe.
Mecca, I am on my way. Book a flight, I'm trying to stay. Pilgrimage for 5 whole days. But first off, I'ma start by saying this. I'm doing Hajj to get rid of my sins. Yeah, and this is spot where Prophet Muhammad lives. Yeah, say Mecca, I am on my way. Mecca, I am on my way. Muslims from around the globe. Everybody wearing white clothes. Round and round we make dua. Run between Safa and Marwa. Dreaming just to kiss the black stone. The place where Islam was born. I swear this place feels like home. Mecca shines bright like New York. Surrounding me, I think, yeah. So the Zamzam water, cause that's my favorite drink. Ay, that D squad, I'm rolling with my clique. Throw the pebbles at the shaitan and I won't miss. Yeah, Mecca, I am on my way. Book a flight, I'm trying to stay. Pilgrimage for 5 whole days. But first off, I'ma start by saying this. I'm doing Hajj to get rid of my sins. Yeah, and this is spot where Prophet Muhammad lives. Yeah, say Mecca, I am on my way. Mecca, I am on my way.
All I gotta say is Bismillah going in. Cancel all my plans and make some time for this trip. You know I'm gon' complain if you put swine in my dish. Jahiliyyah was only a phase for the kid. When I was young, man, I was dumb, committing a lot of these sins. So I go to Hajj, and now it's just time to repent. My brother Jay, he going hard with the deen. Wallahi, we started a team. Alhamdulillah, Allah found us. Muslims from around the globe. It's time to purify our souls. Mecca, here we come, let's go. But first off, I'ma start by saying this. Alhamdulillah.
Mecca, I am